Welcome back to the BookEnds YouTube channel. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm James McGowan.
Hi, I'm Jessica Faust.
And we are literary agents who have taken our popular blog to YouTube to discuss all things publishing. This is one of my favorite topics. I always get excited around like end of October, early November to start talking about goals. BookEnds, we have a huge emphasis at BookEnds on goals, right? Goal setting and how we can use that to achieve the type of success we want for any new calendar year. And we think it's great that all authors have their own set of goals. Publishing is one of those industries that sometimes success can feel a little hard to quantify, or you don't notice the things that have been a success because of these other bigger things, right? So we thought we can talk a little bit about the importance of goals, how we as an agency and individual agents approach goals and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I personally believe that people who set goals and have some sort of plan for them are more successful than those who don't. There's a big difference between sort of the random, I want to write a book, I want to publish a book, and those who truly sit down and plan for it and set the goals and make it happen. And I think what you see is, and we've seen it, you know, at BookEnds and with the work we do, that when we set goals and really make a plan for how to achieve them, we achieve them.
Yeah. You know, I think we all sort of know what we want, right? But there's something about really interrogating those ideas and spelling them out and writing them down even.
Yeah.
That makes it, it's like a little more real.
Well, and one of the things we do at BookEnds is we share them with each other.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to back away from your goals when you've told 15 other people what they are.
Yeah, it's not really hard. It's damn near impossible. But so maybe we could talk a little bit about how we approach them. So when we are at BookEnds, when we're discussing our goals at the end of any year, there's like a process that we take, even if it's subconscious. But I think the first thing, at least that I do, is I sort of review the year that I'm currently in, right? So for 2022, I reviewed 2021. Like, what have I done this year? What have I achieved? What have I sold? Who have I taken on? All of those things. And for a writer, it might be how many queries did I send? All of those little nitty gritty, right? Like just a brain dump of everything that happened this year. I think doing that sort of gives you a benchmark for where you start the next year.
Yeah, and I also really like to look at a really big picture view. So I'm establishing these goals, but what is my ultimate goal? What do I really want out of what I'm doing? I mean, is my ultimate goal as an author, I'm not an author, by the way, but if I were, to be a career author? Is my ultimate end goal that I want to be able to do this for a living, quit my day job and make, you know, a real livable income off of this? Do I want to surpass my day job? Whatever it is, what is my goal? Is my goal that, you know, I want to, I don't know, be able to write in Paris? I mean, really, what is your goal? Go big and go hard on it. And yes, I think looking at where you are today is super important, because if you don't know where you are, then it's really hard to know how you're going to get where you want to go, because you don't even know where you're starting.
But also being realistic, right? So, you know, this year I can not look at where I am. I can just completely ignore and be like, next year, I'm gonna be a New York Times best-selling author. But realistically, that can't happen just because of the production timelines, right? Like that's not something that can happen. So just reviewing where you're at so that you can know most immediately where you're going next year. I think having those career goals are great too, but next year, like what is achievable?
Yes. Yeah. I think you need to sort of make a rough 5-year plan to some extent, because you need to sort of know, well, if my end goal in life is to become a career author, then working on the same book that I've been working on for the last 5 years probably isn't the best plan to be able to become an author who writes a book a year.
Right.
So I think you do have to sort of make that plan. One of the things we do at BookEnds is we talk our goals. So we set our goals, which are often how many books I want to sell in a year, how much money I want to sell in a year, what kind of advances I want to be selling. And then it's not enough just to set those goals. It's really important that we make a plan to how to achieve those goals. And I like to work backward, and I always recommend that to everybody. So if you want to sell a book, let's say your goal is to sell a book to a publisher in 2022.
Which, side note, is kind of what you're doing when you review the last year too. Like, you're getting all of the information to do what Jessica's about to say.
Exactly. So my goal is to sell a book to a publisher. I'm not yet agented. So the first thing I have to do, or the next step down, would be I need to get an agent, right? That would be the next step down. So then what steps do I have to take to get an agent? It would be to query. Well, how many queries do I need to send? And also, when do I need to start that? Because if I'm going to start querying agents in November, I'm not going to get a publishing deal in that year. So you really have to, step back down and know your action plan. If you haven't even started the book and it takes a year to write the book, then maybe being published in this year is not practical. If you don't know how long it takes to go from getting an agent to actually getting published, you should probably know that, so that your plans are realistic with the timelines of the publishing industry, not just your timeline, which, by the way, from the time a deal is made with a publisher, and actually from the time you agree to deliver a complete manuscript, you can expect a year until you're published.
2 years for picture books.
2 years for picture books. So knowing that is an important part of the step of setting that goal.
Agreed. Well, and that kind of leads us to our next point too, which is always the hardest part for me, right? Because when you set those goals, you have an idea of what you want. Jessica's saying now you have to decide what actions you're going to take to achieve those. But I think before you can really decide that, you have to evaluate how you already work. So you have to know what systems do you have set up? And again, maybe I'm coming at this from an agent's angle, but I think even as a writer, when are you writing? When are you sending your queries? What habits do you have? Do you tend to self-reject? Do you not send a query because you're scared to send a query? What other sort of behaviors? What's your mindset? You have to evaluate all of that. And I think unless you do that, you're not going to set action plans that are going to help you achieve those goals.
Yes. If you have spent the last 3 years querying and your goal is to get an agent, and you still don't have an agent after 3 years of querying, my question to you is, what are you not doing that's different? Does that make sense? You need to be doing something different. If you're not achieving the goals and you keep year after year after year setting the same goal and you're not hitting it, then there's something you're doing that's not working. So it's not enough to say, I'm just going to keep setting the same goal and I'll reach it. You need to go, what am I doing that's going to get me to reach it? And what am I doing that's not working?
Right. And just some ideas. Are you stuck on the same book? Are you, do you not have a critique partner or a critique group? Are you not sending enough queries? Are you not following up? Are you so many different things that are
you not even writing?
Right.
Are you setting this plan year after year, but a year after year, you don't even have a book to query yet?
Are you trying to really, make a bad query work? Or are you not, all of these different things that you need to evaluate from those past years.
Are you writing the same book?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I would say is if if you're getting requests off your query and your book's not getting picked, what about your books are consistently not changing? How are you not growing as a writer?
Right. Are you reading enough?
Those rejections? Pardon?
Are you reading enough?
Are you reading enough? Yes. Yes. And are you writing out of the box?
Right.
You mentioned, do you have a critique partner? Do you have the right critique partner? Is your critique group the same one that started out? Have any of you been agented or published? So are you all stuck in the same cycle of the same thing?
Right. I don't have anything to add, and I thought I did, but it's true.
Well, one of the things I know we wanted to talk about is sort of pushing yourself and going big.
So we do this when we're talking about goals. Usually I set a goal and Jessica's like, no.
But I'm not the only one.
No, you're not. You're not at all. But you're the only one in the video that I can throw under the bus. So
respect that.
Fair enough. So, I mean, like we mentioned, we share it with others, right? So if you do have that critique group and critique partners, share it. Say, this is what I'm thinking
Oh,
of next year. What do you guys think? Is this too easy? Is it unachievable? Am I kind of making myself feel comfortable? How can I make this so that, goals should be something that you have to work and strive to attain and to
yeah.
achieve. So I keep mixing those words up, attain and achieve. So I think you need to, like, if you think you're comfortable with it, you're probably not setting the right goals.
Yeah. The one thing we always say here is, I will ask, does it scare you?
Yeah.
And James will say, not really, but the next number does. And I'm like, well, then what number should you be striving for? Yeah, I really think that if you have a critique group of some sort, this should be a group thing. This
Yeah.
should be something that you should all be doing. And you could create a form that you all work off a similar form with your goals and your action plan and maybe even long-term goals, or you could all just create it however you want, but you need accountability with this. And it's not just, I'm going to make the goals and put them away in my desk drawer, and then next year I'll look to see if I did it. It really has to be, I mean, we check ours pretty regularly to see where we're at, how we're doing, where I've fallen off. And also sometimes, is it okay that I have fallen off?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, sometimes I've set goals that at the beginning of the year made a lot of sense, but my career, my vision has changed throughout the year that maybe that's not the right goal anymore. So I need to make a course correction.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was gonna say it at the end of the video, but like having a healthy relationship with those goals, right? Like being able to continuously reevaluate, know if something's serving you, if it's not serving you. If, halfway through the year, if I'm close to my sales goal, I bump it up. Like I want to do more than what I set out for. So are you nearing that benchmark and you're like, I'm going to achieve it and I'm confident and I'm happy that I'm going to do that, but now I want to go to the next step. So like evaluating them, I do it monthly, some do it quarterly, some do it half year, like mid-year. I know my planner set up for a mid-year review, but setting those like check-in points where you can evaluate, see what's serving you, just be comfortable with changing things or scaling things back if you need to, if it makes you feel a little more like confident and able to achieve something. But having that healthy relationship, and especially if you're not close to achieving something, like setting newer action plans to break down that goal in some way, but not letting the goals overwhelm you.
Yeah, and I think the biggest, agree, absolutely. And I also think when it comes to making goals, there are two big mistakes people make. They make unrealistic goals within the timelines that they can. You can't finish a book in November and have it published maybe even the next year. You're probably not going to finish a book in November and get an agent and a publisher. You might not even get an agent. So you need to sort of be realistic about your timelines. But then the second one, which is maybe a bit in conflict with that, is you don't push yourself enough. If your goals are too easy, sure, you'll achieve them and that's great. You can pat yourself on the back, but is it really going to get you to that end goal? I can make the goal that I'm going to finish a book this year, but that seems pretty easy. I think everybody watching should be able to finish a book this year. So you're really just giving yourself an out because you're not pushing yourself to do that next scary thing.
Yeah, exactly. And just not like, I can't stress it enough, I think, because I used to do this a lot, just not letting them overwhelm you. Yeah. Because they're not like, you're not going to lose your job if you don't make a goal, or you're not never going to get published if you don't make a goal. You just need to regard them as something that you set. They are plans that you want to achieve, but they're not set in stone.
No, and I don't think there's a failure in goal making or striving for goals. And so if you don't achieve your goals, but you've gotten pretty close, that to me isn't failure.
No,
it doesn't mean that you set your goals too high.
Right.
And I think that the important thing is, okay, so next year, you're not going to backpedal.
Right.
You're not going to make it easy on yourself, but you're going to have a more realistic understanding of what maybe you need to do differently.
I agree. So we've got one last point, and it's probably the easiest one, because we talked about reviewing them regularly, so we don't need to go into detail. But write them down.
Yes.
So there are a number of different ways that people do this, right? Like I know some people, I have an Airtable because I'm obsessed with Airtable. Some people, like I know you do vision boards and have your goals on a vision board. Some people write them down in their notebook. Some people pin them on a cork board or a whiteboard or their computer. Just put them somewhere that they're in your face, that you're
Yep.
gonna see them or you're gonna check them. And they're not something like, wrote this in January, it's October, like, okay. You need to put them in a place that they are constantly confronting and challenging you.
Yeah, I mean, set a reminder on your
Yeah.
phone where your goals actually pop up in your face every month, every quarter, whatever you need. There are a lot of different ways you can do it, but make sure it's one that's accessible to you.
Yep, for sure. So we hope this was helpful. It's the perfect time to set your goals. It's the beginning of the year, and we hope that you achieve everything you want to this year. Don't
Yeah.
forget to,
Good luck. Sorry.
yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you back here next time.
Follow. Bye.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, we offer a number of great workshops through Speakeasy and other platforms.
These workshops have been a fun new thing that we've been doing, not just me and James, but others at BookEnds, where we work with you interactively on critiques, queries, and insights and answer questions into publishing. So you can find out more information on our website or through speakeasy.com, and we hope you'll sign up. Bye.